Well, let's take a look at what is happening in the markets, and we start off with the JSE. Quite some interesting moves that we have seen on the local bourse today, with a surge in the gold miners. We also have seen Naspers and Process being some of the companies that have been the top gainers today. Of course, that coming from the surge in the Tencent stock price. We have seen there that Tencent is integrating DeepSeek's functions into its messaging app. Looking at how the JSE has performed, though, even with all that optimism in those counters, we are seeing a decline on the all share of more than a third of a percent, that largely coming from the resources 10 complex. Of course, we have seen some of the, well, actually, no, not a climb on the gold price. Actually, that has actually taken a hit, and that is what is responsible for the knock that we are seeing on the resources 10 complex, that declining by almost 2.5%. Financial 15 shedding off there at more than 0.25%, but backing that overall trend. The industrial 25, of course, supported by Process and Naspers, up by more than 0.5%. Let's take a look at the, not the US markets, because those are on holiday. It is President's holiday today. But looking at the markets across the Atlantic, quite a lot of geopolitical interactions happening there. We did actually have the European defense stocks surging, of course, as we had over the weekend, European leaders meeting to discuss security and defense in the region, but also discussing the exclusion of Europe from Donald Trump's peace talks in Saudi Arabia of an ending of the Russia-Ukraine war. We are seeing some optimism coming through there. FTSE 100 up by almost 0.33%. The CAC 40 climbing 0.16%, and the DAX there climbing more than 1%. Let's take a look at what is happening on the currency scene, and we start off with how the rand is doing against some of the major currencies. The rand remaining pretty stable against the dollar, particularly at 18 rand 42, against the pound at 23 rand 19, and against the euro at 19 rand 31. Let's take a look at how the other currency pairs are doing, starting off with the euro dollar at 1.04. Pound dollar at 1.25, and a strengthening on the yen that's just above 151 against the US dollar. Of course, that coming from the GDP growth in Japan in the fourth quarter that surprised to the upside.